video title is correct. This is my dream van, and I bought it. Before we get into the van and I give you a full tour, let me take you back to 2018. You see, back in 2018, Charlie and I decided to live in Australia for a year. So for those of you who don't know, Charlie and I actually met back in 2015 whilst working in Zimbabwe. So there's something about travel written into the DNA or dunna of our relationship. Sorry about the Milton Jones joke there.
Some geese and goslings. Doesn't look that happy with me.
Back to 2018, and when we were in Australia, we were fortunate enough to do a couple of road trips, including one between Sydney and Melbourne in a car camper we hired, and we absolutely loved it. It was great cooking out the back of the car, driving our little home around the beautiful Australian roads, and every time we saw the car parked somewhere, I would just look at it and think, that's our home for the next 2 weeks. The moment of that trip I think about the most came one day after a particularly long drive where Charlie and I decided to pull over in a lay-by. We needed coffee, and where we stopped we realised there was a cut-through to a gorgeous beach. So we made our coffee on the picnic table, grabbed the camping chairs out of the boot of the car and walked down to the beach and just sat on the beach with our coffee, taking it all in. It was in this moment that we realised that we wanted our own vehicle that we could sleep and camp in, our own vehicle for our adventures, our own vehicle that we could call our home from home and enjoy life on the road and explore areas and ways which isn't normally accessible. Eventually we got back from Australia and immediately started researching campers, and we quickly stumbled across people giving tours of their vans which they'd converted into these beautiful homes on wheels. Before I knew it, I was down a YouTube rabbit hole of van tours. I began to imagine plans of how I would design my own van, and Charlie and I would lay in bed at night looking at listings for potential vans that were available even though we couldn't afford them. It got to the point where I'd make an assessment on pretty much every single vehicle I saw on whether or not you could sleep on it, which now that I think about it sounds like an incredibly millennial thing to do because sleeping in a van feels way more obtainable than buying a home. Eventually Charlie and I were able to buy Betty, a 2012 Citreon Berlingo with a camper unit on the back, which meant we could take her on the road. And there's a good chance if you're watching this, you're probably already familiar with Betty, but if you're not, she was a brilliant vehicle who we went on many a great adventure with, so much love to Betty. I feel bad for saying this because of how many great memories Betty gave us, but she was always a bit of a compromise. We wanted a van and two things were holding us back. The first and perhaps most obvious thing that was holding us back was that we couldn't afford a van, and even if we could, the second thing that was holding us back is we didn't know if we had a van how much we'd be able to use it. So we bought Betty knowing she was a bit of a gateway drug, and the deal we made with ourselves was if we used her enough, should the time come when we can afford one, we would get a van. And as you can tell, the time came, which sort of brings us full circle. And also I've walked in a circle, right? That was on purpose. So let me introduce you to the dream van, the as of yet unnamed medium wheelbase 2016 Vauxhall Movano. Tour? Tour. That's what I said in the title, probably. The weather cannot decide what it is doing today. It's definitely that the weather can't decide what it's doing. It's not the case that I was filming, I lost track of time. I remembered I was meant to pick Charlie up from somewhere, so I went and picked her up and then came back the next day, but in order to make it look like the same day, I wore the same clothes and the weather was completely different. That's definitely not what's happened here. Let's tour the van. You know, I've watched enough van tours that I should know how to do this, but I really don't know where to start. I guess we'll start in the front with the van. So as I said earlier, today, definitely not yesterday, this is a 2016 medium wheelbase Vauxhall Movano. Now, the van itself doesn't really matter that much to me. You know, there's lots of vans of this shape and this size, whether it be a Transit or a Sprinter or a Boxer or a Ducato. You've probably, if you're watching this video, you've probably seen enough videos of people exploring their vans. You know which vans can and can't be converted. Pretty much anything can be converted. The reason we got this particular van was actually because of the condition of the van. So it didn't really matter to us what the van was, it mattered to us what condition it is. Now this van, when we bought it, well, it still has, we've not really used it that much, has only done 40,000 miles, which was incredibly important to me. I didn't want something with ridiculously high mileage, because I know that you can drive most of these vans forever, but also at the same time, I am not particularly handy. If you've watched many of my videos, you'll know this. So I wanted something that was going to be reliable in the first instance. And more importantly, this had just had a major service when we received it. So the van itself was in perfect conditioning, and that is why we got this particular van. The cockpit, so to speak, the bit at the front, pretty much your bog standard. 3 seats. We haven't installed any swivel chairs because it doesn't work with the design in the back, which you'll see in a moment. But yeah, that's pretty much all there is to say about the front, I think. It's nice. I like it. It's good. It's good. Still can't get over the change in weather today. It's changed so much. Now, if you're like me, you probably don't care that much what the front of the cab looks like or what the mileage is. You just want to get into the back, so we'll jump into it, even though I think it's quite smart that I've stored some stuff down there. But, you know, that doesn't matter. Let's get in. Although, actually, I do tease. There are some shelves up here. You can't tell. That's too dark, John. Where can we... Lighting. That's a bit better. You could, yeah, there's some shelves in here, which will probably be useful in the future. There's not a lot of storage in the front. We can maybe play with that. Maybe we'll do that extended parcel shelf thing that you see people do. We haven't done that yet though, so we're not going to worry about that. I'm going to take my shoes off because it's nice and clean in here. I'm not doing very well with this lighting thing. I'm a bloody silhouette. Welcome to the new home on wheels, the adventure wagon, the van which needs a name. If you have ideas for names for this, let me know. I'm going to show you it now, so you'll have something to base it off. But yeah, welcome to the van. This is it. This is my van. Well, it's mine and Charlie's van, but she's not here. This is my van. Now, the first thing I'm going to show you is this switch, and I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, John, it's just a bloody switch. Why are you getting so close to the camera? Well, the reason for it is because I've never had power in a van before, and this turns on the lights. Or at least the lights in the front half of the van. This switch does the back. So yes, the van has power, and it mainly comes from a 200-watt solar panel on the roof of the van, which you may have seen in some of the drone shots from earlier today, not yesterday, when it was grayer. I should have bought the drone today. But it does also have an electric hookup point outside, so, you know, you can have off-grid power and on-grid power, which is a thing, off-grid and on-grid. You know, now that I'm a camper, I have to use camper phrases like off-grid and on-grid, and this isn't a parking spot, it's a park-up. And this isn't a conversion, this is a build. This is my van build. I'm showing you my build. I didn't build it, but this is my build. So we're going to jump right into the power setup, but I'm not going to spend too much time on it because I know when I watch van tour videos, there's some people who are really interested in it, and then there's people like me who just want to look at pretty vans. I don't have a Scooby-Doo. I had to learn quite a lot before we bought this to make sure I was buying the right thing. But I will quickly whiz through it. So we're going to go down here. Oh, because down here, specifically in here, is where the leisure battery for this vehicle is. There is no connection to the main car battery. This doesn't charge when we're driving along. There's no split relay. I think that's what that means. It's just a leisure battery in here. Now that's good because it means we can't mess up. We can't accidentally drain the car battery. And also, it only really charges from the solar. I'll show you what I mean. So what we're looking at here is the beating heart of the electrics. I think, is that a good analogy? Heart? I think so. This is the heart, or is it the lungs? Because it's drawing the power. Or is the solar panel the lungs? Gonna have to work on this. But basically, as I was explaining, we have a leisure battery which is charged by the 200-watt solar panel on the roof. Now, there is another way of charging the battery, and that is when you're on an electric hookup. Down here we have a battery charger, so all you have to do is flick this switch and this will charge, and it doesn't take particularly long to charge at all when you're hooked up to mains, so that's good. So this gives us our standard 12-volt power in the van, and we've got, you know, various items that use that. You know, we've got USB sockets, we've got a fridge which I'll show you now. Fridge, USB sockets, lights, But if you've been watching this channel, my John Rochford channel, for quite a while, you'll know that I do quite a lot of work from the back of the van. So I do need more power. I need to be able to do things like charge my laptop, which I can't really do from USB slots, which is where this cupboard comes into its own. You see in here, we have a power inverter, which powers this middle plug socket here. So I can now do things like charge my laptop, which is incredible. Every other plug socket you see is only really available when plugged on grid, but that's fine. I don't need that much power. As you saw, my previous van was Betty, the Berlingo, so this is a massive upgrade for me. The other benefit of having power is being able to take advantage of this beautiful, massive copper sink in the back, and it was really important to me to have a nice big sink because I do wash up. Even when I'm stealth camping, I do the washing up, and I do not like doing it in a small area. I'm messy, I splash everywhere. I needed a big area, and obviously if I'm out and about I can take it out of the van and splash around just in there, but I did need a lovely big sink. It's just a personal preference of mine. But as I was saying, because we got power, we also have a water pump. We got running water. I've got running water in my van. The water system isn't actually overly complicated. We basically have a 20-litre freshwater tank, which is where the pump is, and we've got a 20-litre wastewater tank. Grey water. Grey water. Get with the camping terms, John. Now, one of the things that really drew me and Charlie to this particular van was the colour scheme and the design, and that everything was really meant to feel sort of earthy and natural. You can see we've got this gorgeous green throughout the van and these beautiful copper handles which feel unique, but also how everything is wood. You know, we've got this lovely wooden cladded ceiling and wooden cladded sides, and we've got these beautiful wooden worktops, and I'm honestly in love with the feel of the back of this van, and I am very, very excited. I don't know if you can tell. Even the curtains are Harris tweed. This is genuinely nicer than when me and Charlie actually live. I cannot get over how nice this is. Now, the curtains hang with these brown leather straps, but the thing is they do just hang down like that, which means I suppose for light leaking out it's not going to be perfect when it comes to stealth camping, but that doesn't matter because the windows are tinted. Now, the tinted windows don't offer perfect privacy, especially when there's lights on inside. You can see in a little better, but in the day you can't really see in. You'd have to be pressed right up against the window to look in. So from that point of view, the tinted windows are a must-have, I feel, on most vans, because it still lets plenty of light in. This tour is all over the place. I haven't even finished with the electrics yet. The other feature we have is a little vent up the top here. Now, these are quite common in vans. You'll have seen them all over the place. But the thing I really like about them is that they can be either fan or extractor fan. And the reason you might want an extractor fan is because we have a gas hob. So yeah, the van does have LPG gas, and it does have a gas safety certificate, which was sort of important to me as well because didn't want to kill myself, basically. But yeah, we power the hob from there. But the other thing, with this knob here, we can turn on the gas to a gas heater, which is an E-Propex gas heater, which is powered by this unit here. So we can have warm air in the van coming out of vents, and we don't have to fill up a little can with diesel in the van. It's run by gas. I didn't even know this was a thing from the van tours I saw. This is amazing. So yeah, right now there is hot air coming out of this vent, which is ridiculous because it's sunny, so I'm going to turn that off. Now, this gas heater is actually a huge deal for me because I like to go out in the cold. I like to go out in the winter. I like to be out all times of year. You've seen me be out in the snow in Betty. Now, the problem with Betty is that there was no insulation at all. She was just a car, and there were some nights where it was actually too cold for me to bear. I basically didn't sleep, whereas this bad girl is super well insulated, and it means that we can go out for adventures all year round, and I know that I will. Now, obviously we've got gas in here, so we do have a carbon monoxide monitor here. I know someone will tell me, oh, do you have a carbon monoxide? We have a carbon monoxide monitor. Okay, guys, you should get one though. If you don't have one, get one. Don't mean to be flippant. Default setting, sorry. Now, I know that some of you might want to see footage of us converting the van, but we didn't do it. But you know, there's loads of videos online of people covering their van in foil. This is what that would look like.
Oh, it'd be quicker if I just do a time lapse.
No shade, I watch loads of van conversion videos, and one day I want to do one myself. But if you want to watch a video of someone covering a van in foil, there's loads of videos out there. Me and Charlie actually bought this van fully converted from someone locally near us called Simon, who is doing this part-time at the moment. He's called Dark Lane Camper Van Co. is what the business for the van conversions is, and he did this job. This was his 4th van, I think he said he converted, and he had converted this van for him and his partner, but then he realised that he wasn't going to be able to use it all that much. But fortunately, me and Charlie are, so we were able to get it. So no conversion video. Sorry. Another cool feature of this van is this pull-out, fold-out table, which is not only great in terms of space saving and the way it stores away, but is also sort of indicative of the sort of van that me and Charlie wanted. Now let me explain, this is only a medium wheelbase, so we needed to figure out how we wanted our living area inside a van to look, and me and Charlie spent a lot of time thinking about this, and I think if we'd gone for a long wheelbase van, we'd have got a fixed bed at the back, that sort of standard thing with the garage underneath. But the thing is we want to use this van as a living space, as a working space. We're hoping to do this 2-month road trip, which I've already teased in the summer, which if you're new here and you want to see 2-month road trip in this van, be sure to subscribe. Hey. But yeah, if we wanted to be on the road, I needed somewhere to work and edit. Charlie needed somewhere to be able to chill and relax, and we needed a bit more space in the van, so we opted against a fixed bed. We may regret that later on, because I know how much of a pain it can be to make and unmake the bed every day. But the thing is we decided that this is such a big step up for us that whether or not it takes 3 or 4 minutes to make the bed doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. We can take that time. I know at the end of the day there'll be moments where we're tired and we're thinking to ourselves, I wish we didn't have to make our bed now, but I think that's going to be more than outweighed in the times where we need to sit down, edit, relax, have somewhere to eat our dinner, etc., and not feel too crammed in, not feel like we're in the back of a van. I know we're camping and I know it's supposed to feel like you're in a van, but you can make it feel a bit more comfortable if you want, and I think this L-shaped seating here gives us that option. We also have the benefit of it being incredibly comfortable. All of these cushions are like thick memory foam, and they've got like a firm side and a soft side, which is both good for seating and for sleeping. So it is incredibly comfy back here, and I'm just going to enjoy my tea now. If that's okay. I think it's okay. I can do what I want. You're not even here. You're here in spirit. One of the things Charlie and I really liked about this van is just how much storage there is. Like up here, we've put some towels up here at the moment. There's cupboards literally everywhere. So there's plenty of place to store things, including under the seats. There's these big areas of storage down here, which is really important to us, because if we're going to be doing 2 months in this vehicle, we're going to need a lot of storage, because we've got a lot of crap to take with us. Good, not crap, good stuff. One of the areas we've already personalised is down here. Charlie made this curtain because there was a bit of a gap down here. Originally there was a bit of one of those things you put in wardrobes where you can store shoes in it, but we didn't like that as use for the space, so Charlie made this curtain. But what we do keep in here are the bed slats for the bed. Let me show you how the bed works. So I think this bed setup is actually fairly unique. I've not seen much like this so far, so let me try and show you as thoroughly as I can. First of all, we have this like rather nifty slide out section here, which sort of starts off the bed making process. Then I'm not sure if you noticed before, but there are gaps down either side of this runway for slats, which is where these lovely, beautiful leather bound slats go. And there you have one double bed with memory foam mattress. Now it is a 6 foot long bed, and it is actually double bed width. It's not a queen, it's not a king. Is queen smaller than double? I get confused, but it's a double bed size bed. Now I'm not gonna lie, Charlie and I were worried when we saw pictures of this online that this might be a bit too cozy for us, but when we went to check out the van and visit it, we made sure that we lay down in it, and actually it is plenty big enough, like comfortably big enough. It's fairly deceptive, actually. It's really comfy. I know it sounds like I'm trying to convince myself, but I'm not. It really is a very comfy bed. Oh, I just stubbed my toe. I was going to say, just like that, it's packed up. Woo! Oh, van life, baby. Oh, hang on. No. I was about to close up, but I nearly forgot something. It's dark again. We've got a toilet. We have got a bog. I have said to Charlie it's for emergencies only. I am not entirely sure. I've always thought it a bit weird, like shitting in your kitchen, but I suppose that's van life. So yeah, we've got a loo. Beats the trowel that I used to have, so yeah. Not been used yet, so that's why I'm getting so close to it. I wouldn't be quite so cozy with it if it was full of crap and piss. So bad at this van tour stuff. I should have made some notes. I wanted to say this before, but you can fill up the water, the 20-litre water, by taking out the tank, or you can use a hose pipe, which is pretty neat. And there we have our fire extinguisher. Not that you can extinguish the burning fire that is my passion for this van. That is terrible. It is so dark in here. But I did choose to park in some shade, so that's my own fault. So yeah, that is my van tour. I don't know if you have any questions or anything else you wanted me to show in more detail, just let me know in the comments down below. I really have watched so many van tours, you think I'd be better prepared for doing my own. But I'm just very excited by the van. I'm very excited about what it means for me and Charlie and what is now possible. And I cannot get any more excited about this road trip we're going to do this summer. So, as I said before, if you want to watch me and Charlie dick around in this van in Europe, then please like, share, subscribe. That's the bit that you should do. Subscribe. And, oh yeah, we nearly forgot something. As always, DBAD, don't be a dick.